We are 1 week away from Wrestlemania, and as a wrestling fan on the internet, I have a soapbox, therefore my opinion matters. Let's lock up. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Headlock'd. My name is Noah Waterman. Now normally, this is the show where we take everything you loved in the past week in wrestling and treat it in a fashion similar to what may have happened to a wrestler in the past week. However, next week is Wrestlemania. So instead of looking back in the last week in wrestling, I think it's only fair that we look forward as Headlock'd presents the Wrestlemania Rundown. This Chris Jericho has been the worst Chris Jericho. He's less best in the world at what I do Chris, and more Vegas magician Chris, which is to Chris Jericho what Slalom Racer Batman is to Batman. It may have worked in 1999, but he's 42 now. Watching him has felt like teaching my dad how to use the internet. I humor him because I love him, but I still get annoyed when he posts the Numa Numa video. But he doesn't disappoint when it matters, as Jericho is always solid in the ring, and this past Monday, he got angry. This puts conviction behind his words, where even the most passé of his catchphrases can inspire interest. Let's not take anything away from the former Johnny Curtis. There was a while when him and Derek Bateman weren't just the reason to watch NXT, they were the reason to go out of your way to watch NXT. So what do I want? The Ballroom Blitzkrieg to take it. While his avoidance has been an effective heel tactic, it has inspired the "you can't wrestle" chants. Doesn't matter how great the match is, if he loses, he validates those chants and risks becoming another Heath Slater. And we already have 3 of those. My prediction? The Lord of the Dance. Chris Jericho is at his best against someone new because he is famously unselfish about putting someone else over. Johnny Curtis can win the match, look like an effective Vega from Street Fighter type heel in the process, and start his career off on the right foot. Since the return of Mark Henry, we have been hoping for a Clash of the Titans match between him and Ryback. It's what we got, but the build-up is a perfect example of why WrestleMania 29 just doesn't feel as epic. It started with the two staring each other down, but in order to build anticipation for the Shield match, they threw Ryback in there as a red herring. Didn't work, but I appreciate the effort. Mark Henry still came down and destroyed a fallen Ryback, but then how do they bait and switch us? Feed me Shield! Feed me Shield! Holla, 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 hold on, player! You're gonna go one-on-one with the Mark Henry! Feed me Henry! Feed me Henry! No revenge, no passion, just a shrug and he's off to his next meal. What I want? Same as my prediction. Ryback gets the win. Ryback hasn't been pinned cleanly yet, but he has been losing a lot of his big matches. Mark Henry has been winning, and he's been around long enough that we know he's an effective monster. Now, a WrestleMania loss wouldn't really hurt either one of them, but let's be honest with ourselves. This match is purely a reason to get Mark Henry shell-shocked. We all love the Shield, but this match just feels forced, and even more so than the other Shield pay-per-view matches that were slapped together in a similar fashion. Yeah, it's got the added will they won't they effect from the Uneasy Hero Alliance, but the stakes aren't there, and that might be more on the Shield than anyone else. Right now, they're just aimlessly bouncing from Team of 3 to Team of 3, looking for bigger and bigger people to powerbomb. So what do I want? The Shield to win. Maybe if the story was a little more long-term, there were a couple of pay-per-view matches against this particular team, that they would finally get their comeuppance. But right now, a WrestleMania loss, I just don't think would work. What do I predict? The Shield, if only because it's being telegraphed by the hero team coming out on top in every situation this past week. Bonus points if Randy Orton turns heel. Minus points if he turns heel and becomes the leader of the Shield, because that would take attention away from the original members and risk them turning into a Justin Gabriel type predicament, or Heath Slater, or Michael Tarver, or David Otunga, or Ezekiel Jackson, or Wade Barrett. Use AJ as a catalyst for a feud between Dolph Ziggler and Team Hell No? How did nobody think of this sooner? Yeah, sure, it's another slap-together match to get everyone involved in WrestleMania, but I'm still pretty excited. Take 3 superstars with the best line delivery in the WWE, tack on a guy with muscles on his muscles, and the experienced veteran, and you've got yourselves a really good match. What do I want? Cloud and Barrett to win the titles. Daniel and Kane are a prime example of what happens when the WWE finds something good and holds on to it for way too long. Instead of using their newfound interest to go ahead and rebuild the tag division, they held on to those titles, beat every team that's out there, and now we're back to where we started. New champions means a fresh new start and a chance to rebuild the tag division again. My prediction? It's 50-50 on this one, but I'm going to go with Team Hell No. Dolph's been losing a lot lately, and he already has the money in the bank, so it wouldn't be that surprising. And besides, after the last 2 years, they really owe Daniel Bryan. Let's just get this out of the way. This match is going on first. Yes, it's for the World Heavyweight title, which is why it's going on first, because that match always goes on first. It's the least important main event match happening at WrestleMania. Now, this feud started off really good, but it does seem to have lost some steam. I'm still excited to see how Zeb and Ricardo, arguably the more interesting parts of this feud, work their way into the match, but unless they put more importance on the World Heavyweight title, I see it coming and going without any real pizzazz. What do I want? I'd love to see Swagger win it and take complete control. Zeb could run for GM of SmackDown, Swagger is Vice GM, and they could say they do things under democracy when it really becomes a dictatorship. However, Swagger done gone f***ed up. And because WWE needs to take action or else it'll look really bad on them as a company, my prediction's going to Alberto. Now on to the big names, because we're not going to go into any matches that haven't been announced yet, even though it looks like they dropped Layla completely, and they'll probably stick Kofi in some sort of battle royale. I've already gone into the reasons why the stipulations for this match don't work. The two will go at it, it'll be violent, Brock will probably bleed, and WWE will tout this as some sort of match of the year candidate, even though we'll all shrug our shoulders saying Brock's match with Cena was better. What do I want? Honestly, I don't care as long as we keep getting more Paul Heyman, who's been pulling out the Oscar-worthy moments since 2013 began. My prediction? Look, you don't make a retirement stipulation unless you plan on retiring somebody. These are the lessons a teary-eyed 15-year-old Noah learned after Mick Foley lost to Triple H at No Way Out. Besides, the man already removed himself from active competition once, and has a steady job as the COO of the company. What's he gonna do? Win and not show up till next year? That's what The Undertaker's for. Speaking of which, we have made it no secret how much we love CM Punk's disrespectful, yet still tasteful actions during this build-up, even though it makes us wonder what would have happened had Paul Bearer not passed away. Things got to a rough start when Punk came out to challenge Taker for the match at WrestleMania, only to be forced into a fatal four-way for the right to face him. We all knew Punk vs. Taker was an inevitability. It's okay that it was predictable. WWE has this need to try to swerve us anytime information leaks or things become too obvious. Obvious is not a four-letter word. It's okay when that happens. The Titanic we knew was going to sink, but Leonardo is still set for life. I just wish WWE would stop doing these half pushes, where they try something new for a little bit, and then immediately turn it around and take it back when it doesn't take off instantly. That said, with the mixture of circumstance and talent, this played out pretty well. What do I want? Punk. If not to say that I was there in person when the streak was finally broken at WrestleMania 29. My prediction? Too many factors stack up against Punk in this. Why have Undertaker lose and retire at WrestleMania 29 when you have this huge milestone-like round number in WrestleMania 30 right around the corner? And besides, had Paul Bearer not passed away, Punk might have had a chance. But the opportunity for a WrestleMania send-off is just too sentimentally cheesy for the WWE to pass up. Once in a Lifetime 2, Return of the Johnson. 2 times in a lifetime, Too Furious. Once in a Lifetime 2, Attack of the Clones. Once in a Lifetime, and the Celebrity's Belt. 2's Company. 3's just repetitive. We have more sequel names, but you get the idea. If you want to hear my full thoughts on the subject, check out our first episode, as I rant pretty heavily on that. Short version is, Rock, go f*** yourself. You don't need the title, you have the world-famous movie career. Now, a lot of people like to hate on John Cena, but in all honesty, he's the one doing the heavy lifting in this. This is not the tale of two people putting it all on the line as much as the WWE wants to convince us that it is. This is the tale of one man's path to redemption. Yes, The Rock is going to bring in the casual fan because he's smart, funny, charming, like a Samoan John Hamm. But those who actually follow the product understand that this is just a supporting character in the tale that is John Cena's story. Besides, that might not actually be the case if the world champion would actually show up on Raw every week. This fact was made more obvious by the point and counterpoint segment on Raw. The Rock was The Rock, for better or for worse, and the cast of WWE Classics Legends of Wrestling played their part well. But it was John Cena who made this really worth watching. He got pissed, he lost his cool, he became passionate, but most importantly, he sold the loss. Now, John Cena has many detractors, partially because he never seems to sell his loss. He can go ahead, lose one night, the next night on Raw he'll be happy as a clam, making his opponent the previous night look like an afterthought. He's called Superman because he doesn't show any weaknesses, and weakness is essential for making a character relatable. This past Monday, he addressed his weakness, and it was one of the few times that he's been truly captivating. Now, he's not turning heel. Alright, everyone out there is trying to assume some sort of possible heel turn. It's just not going to happen. Merchandise sales are too good. No one out there on the roster can replace him as the face of the company. The story doesn't need it, and it'd just be bad for business. And besides, I'm not going to bother trying to tease that my wants and predictions are different, because they're not. I've gone into so many times I can't even count the reasons why John Cena has to and will win this title. Our main hope right now is that they don't turn this into a trilogy. So that ends our very special WrestleMania rundown. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We will not be doing an episode next week because we will be out of the studio and at WrestleMania. But in the meantime, go ahead and leave a comment below. Tell us what you thought. Do you like my predictions? Do you think I was horribly and offensively wrong? We'd love to hear it. Go ahead, subscribe to the channel, like the video, but most importantly, thank you for watching Headlock'd. My name is Noah Waterman. Don't try this at home.
A couple matches here at Tomorrow's Gorilla that, Ricochet, I think really changed Ricochet's viewpoint. Oh, look at that.
Whoa!